We are live.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! So my name is Rachael O'Brien and I'm with the amazing
Simon Foot. Howdy ho.
Howdy ho. Howdy ho. I love that. And we are going to have a conversation today about Simone Melissa's the influence that she's had on our lives. And this is the topic that we came up for today's live is, what have you decided is impossible to change with money?
It is a great topic. It is a great topic. I mean, yeah, for me, my reality with money, like 4 or 5 years ago was like, I mean, for those of not many people know, but I actually lived out of a tent for like 2-3 years. I wasn't able to feed myself for 3 days at a time, so I just fast. Being a hippie was quite conducive to that lifestyle and that choice, but it wasn't like something where I was like, oh, I have choice here, I can eat food. So I like would have to starve myself for 3 days. And then like coming along to Access and just choosing to actually receive more money and actually receiving money changed a lot for me.
I have to pat myself on that, because it makes me quite sad to think of you in a not eating for 3 days. I'm like, wow, pat. Yeah.
I kind of enjoyed my life. It was quite simple at that time. It was like, didn't have any I didn't have to like do anything. I just, chose whatever the heck I wanted to do. And it was quite simple, but I didn't have a lot of choice in that space too. I thought it was freedom, but it actually wasn't freedom. It was actually a lot of unfreedom, not freedom.
I get what you mean. It seems to have this sense of freedom in that I don't have to care about anything. I don't have to look after a house. I don't have to look after an apartment. I don't have to look after a car, taxes, all this type of stuff. And I live out here. And what you're saying now is that it was a no choice universe. And I suppose,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I guess really this is what the conversation is about today, that is that what have you decided is impossible to change with money? And let's talk about the influence. So first of all, we are inviting you to a Get Out of Debt Joyfully class and book. But more than that, these are upcoming events that are upcoming. We're inviting you to actually have an ease and peace with money and to step into a new reality that both of us have accessed. Really, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's one of those topics, like money is one of those topics that is like, there's a lot of charge on it. There's a lot of energy. It's like you're either, there's this reality of like you either have money or you don't, or, like it's a really interesting topic that puts a lot of people into these beyond worlds where it can bring up a lot of stuff. And Simone, has kind of come from, she's had a really interesting background with it too, like running the different businesses that she had, but like she wasn't born into money, or she's created a lot of amazing stuff with her choices with money. And
it's just incredible. I'm just going to show people the book. I know you've just started your journey with the book, and this book actually transformed my life. I don't know if you know this, Simon. I came from a lot of lack and loss, and but I had a massive capacity to create, and I would create money. I had 3 kids. I had my first child when I was 20. So when it came to my children, I did whatever it took to make sure that those children were looked after and that they could access whatever it is was going to create more for them. But I had got into a lot of debt. I'd overborrowed, credit cards, all of that stuff. And I came to Access and I wasn't willing to look at it for a long time. I'm not one of the people that went, I'm going to look at this straight away. I didn't. I was like, no, it's over here. I'm not going to look at it. And I had like 82,000 in debt with the bank, 7,000 and 12,000 on credit cards. And guess what? Today, that's all actually cleared, and it's phenomenal. And this getting out of debt joyfully, what I recognized that it was actually nothing to do with money. It was me not having the only way that I can put it was a prosperous relationship with myself, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's awesome.
yeah, didn't have that communion with myself, and I certainly wasn't invited to a communion with money that Simone invites us all to. In this book, I just adore, like in this book, she says, like, you know, be happy for every single dollar that shows up in your life, be happy for every single dollar that you can pay out. And where access is dynamically different is it doesn't look at like statistics or facts or figures. It actually looks at, hang on a second, what is it that you like your life to be like, and start to be that energy right now, and start to know that you are, abundance is the truth of you. And if you continue to choose that, you know, as you said, that prosperity is available to everyone, that it's not for the privileged few.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many things that like we can go into, and like, yeah, we even saying that is like we're really taught to kind of, well, we're taught to make money outside, like we're taught that money is like what we have to kind of create, but instead of understanding that we are the source of creation. So it's like when we choose to actually create, that's when money follows, and you know, money follows joy. And yeah, I mean, sorry, X-Men autistic thing of like about 5 million things popped when you said those things, and then they all seem to disappear at the same time. But yeah, it's like, and it's also looking at like our motivations for what we like, why we create money too, has always been a really interesting one. Of like, a lot of the time we're taught to do it out of need, like I need to pay my bills, or I need to get out of debt, or I need to do, or whatever this is. But it's like, when you function from need too, that need is like, if you say I need money because I don't have money or I lack money, then what happens is all the universe can hear is actually you saying that you're actually lacking something. So it's like, it's trying to fill a bucket with a big hole in the bottom and going, I need money. And if you're like thinking the whole time you don't need money and the universe gives you the money, then it just goes straight out of the bucket. So yeah, whoops, sorry.
No, that's brilliant. I think that analogy will sit with a lot of people. And that's one of the things she talks about in the book, is that, are you willing to court money into your life? Are you willing to invite it? Are you willing to actually, from choice, not from necessity? And so you can start asking that today. That's brilliant what Simon just said. Truth, would an infinite being, we invite you to the concept. It's a concept initially, I get, of an infinite being, infinite choice, infinite receiving. And then the more you reach for it, the more it's like, man, this shit works. Well, that's what it's like. That's what it's like for me. It's like I had decided that I couldn't handle money, that I couldn't manage money. I didn't ever look at what I could create with money, which was a completely, it's a whole new world, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and Gary Douglas also, he mentions, you know, like, what if money, well, and Dane mentioned too, like, having money what if it's not actually about what this reality tells you, but what if it's about actually changing other people's realities? And like, I think there are so many points of views in this reality saying, you know, money is a struggle, you've got to work hard for money, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, what if money just follows joy? Like, with my business that I've been running for 6 years now, where it's pretty much like I made the choice 6 years ago when I was like living out of a tent and kind of going, what the fuck do I want to do? I was like, well, I don't want to work for other people. I want to work for myself, and I want to just make enough money to kind of travel around. And I started the business, and then the business just kept growing and growing because I really loved the business and I loved working with crystals. And the business like expanded to a point where I was like, holy shit, I didn't know this was possible to do. And yeah, I mean, yeah, I personally, I had to confess to Rachel earlier, I haven't read Getting Out of Debt Joyfully. I just downloaded it, so I'm going to be listening to it. But I have done Simone's other book, which is The Joy of Business, which I love listening to. Like, that's a really kind of good one to get me fired up and looking at my finances, or just looking at the energy of money and everything else too. So yeah.
Yeah, and the thing about you, Simon, and myself is that we actually use these tools yesterday. Yesterday I just moved to Maastricht. I don't know if you know this, and yesterday I'd come and I was looking at a bars class Saturday, and I had a body class up north on Monday night. And do you know that moment that you go into a bit of overwhelm, and I had lots of online stuff, and I just said, hang on a second, I'll take a breath, drop my barriers, push down my barriers, and my go-to question is, okay, so what would I have to add here for this to be ease? And that's Simone's influence,
Yeah,
and
that's beautiful.
isn't it? It's so cool. And the moment I asked that question, I got on and talked to 2 or 3 people, and then the project started moving and rolling again. So we have been massively influenced. I know we've been massively influenced by Simone's leadership and her willingness to invite everyone. Nobody has to have a money problem, and anyone can do business. So we invite you to the class, yeah, and we invite you to care for you in whatever way that looks.
Yeah, pardon me, all the vibrations and the sounds are actually sales coming through on my website. So how's it going? I'm just like, it's just, yeah.
Show me the money. Show me the money.
Yeah. Yeah, money follows joy. So there you go.
Oh my goodness, there you go.
Awesome.
We'll be at the class. Come join us. Come check out these tools.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, Rach.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.